And the top story this evening, after almost a month in jail, stand-up comedian Munawar Faruqui was expected to come out of jail today. But that's not the case. 24 hours ago, the comedian was granted interim bail by the Supreme Court. On Friday evening, the Supreme Court granted Faruqui interim bail, saying the trial court was to set the conditions for this interim bail. The court also stayed a warrant issued against Faruqui by the Uttar Pradesh police. But the stand-up comedian continues to be in the Indore jail, and jail authorities there say he will not be released tonight. Let's go across to Anurag Dwari, who is at the Indore jail right now. Anurag, the top court of the land granted comedian Munawar Faruqui interim bail. So on what grounds are the Indore authorities saying that he cannot be released tonight?
See, the jail administration here has clearly said that they don't have the orders from the UP court, and they have said that here the court has issued the release order, but not the court in UP, and they have to produce Munawar Faruqui there on 18th of February. We have with us the lawyer. We'll just talk to them. Sir, did they said anything to you? I mean, what are the conditions they have imposed?
See, the exact words what they are saying is that we don't have any orders specifically coming from Supreme Court or any of the government authorities. So technically this is not the scene.
Yeah, but in the court order, Supreme Court order, they have clearly written that, stayed
Yes.
on all production warrants. So, I mean, what technicalities are they talking about?
See, Supreme Court order is very clear in this part that the petition in Supreme Court was filed on two grounds. One is Indore, the order of the Indore High Court. Second is the UP's production warrant. So the order is very clear. The last line of the order says it's very clear that all production warrants are stayed. So now they can't deny it is technically a contempt of the court, and it is contempt of the order of the Supreme Court. So that is the problem.
So will you challenge them, because they have clearly said they are not going to release him?
See, the team of the lawyers are working on this. Let us see that what we are taking the grounds, but yes, for sure we'll be taking up this thing as a contempt or as an order of execution of the Supreme Court.
Must be a huge disappointment for the family and the lawyers here in Indore also.
Yes, exactly. We are disappointed because rule of law has not been restored.
Is there any political pressure? I'm really sorry, this question, I mean, it's something political, but still, as a human being, as a lawyer, as a part of the extended family of Munawar, do you feel the same?
See, political pressures are there. They are obviously there, we all know. But very frankly saying that political pressures against the Supreme Court is not happening. It is not a righteous thing to do. So when the Supreme Court has already passed an order, and that order has to be executed, that is a binding order in any of the authorities. So technically they can't deny it.
I can also see one of the relatives. Zaid bhai, if you can just join me. परिवार के लिए क्या मायने हैं, क्योंकि बहुत उम्मीद थी कि आज रिहाई हो जाएगी.
सर, अभी वकीलों की टीम काम कर रही है, उम्मीद अभी भी बंधी हुई है, देखते हैं आगे क्या होता है.
So you can see the lawyers, the family, everyone is waiting outside the court for Munawar, and they're saying that they're still working on it. Let's see.
All right, so it's a contempt of court, says Munawar Faruqi's lawyers. The Supreme Court has passed this order, so the jail authorities have to follow through on that order. So according to jail authorities, the Indore jail authorities, he's got bail for the MP case, but there's no official communication for the UP warrant. Remember, on Friday evening, the Supreme Court granted Faruqui interim bail, saying that the trial court was to set the conditions for this interim bail. The court also stayed a warrant issued against Faruqui by the UP police. It was a two-page order, not a very long order, not needed to be. It spoke a lot of volumes anyway, despite just being 11 lines. And the Supreme Court granted the comedian bail, saying that the FIR allegations are vague. The comedian, remember, has been charged with hurting religious sentiments based on the complaint of the son of a BJP MLA who claims that he overheard Faruqui rehearsing for a show. Faruqui was denied bail by the trial court and the High Court. The Supreme Court in its order yesterday also said that a set procedure had not been followed, and yet now we're seeing 24 hours after the Supreme Court grants interim bail, Munawar Faruqui is still in jail. So the question being asked tonight is this just procedure that needs to be followed? Is this just a legal technicality, or is this a delaying tactic? Joining us on Left, Right and Centre, we have Sanjay Hegde, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court. We have Deshratan Nigam, Advocate Supreme Court and political analyst with pro-RSS and BJP leanings, and A.K. Jain, former DGP of UP. So, Sanjay Hegde, to you first, what do you make of this? Is this technical, procedural delays, or is there more to this than meets the eye?
Well, normally the Supreme Court order is communicated also directly from the Supreme Court to the jail authorities. If that was not communicated, and if they are saying that, let me get a certified copy of the order, it seems to be some kind of deliberate foot dragging. But it won't continue for long. I would certainly, if I was advising the Madhya Pradesh government, which I am not, would tell them, please do not fiddle around when there is a clear order of the Supreme Court. Article 144 of the Constitution requires all authorities to act in accordance with the Supreme Court. And this is before a particular bench of the Supreme Court, which may not take kindly to anybody getting cute with it.
All right. But I think the actual problem here seems to be not so much that the trial court has responded. The trial court in Madhya Pradesh has responded and given the jail authorities the order saying that, yes, the Supreme Court says he must be released. But what the jail authorities now are saying that they are waiting what the UP government has to say, what the UP authorities. So, Mr. Nigam, when the Supreme Court has stayed a warrant in UP, why does the Madhya Pradesh government or the Indore police need to concern itself with UP's requirements?
I think what the jail authorities are saying, that the orders have not been communicated to them, and nobody can, violate those orders, be it anybody, be it the Government of India's offices or the jail authorities or the trial court or the High Court. The Supreme Court orders are supreme. And therefore, once they are saying they have not been communicated to them, is something which we have to look into. Otherwise, this will amount to contempt of court.
So then the fault lies, the delay lies in the UP administration?
No.
If that's the case?
No, see, even if a person, even if the lawyers have it, the certified copy, which we get it under the signatures of the court master also. And it can be obtained immediately and one can give it out there. And the fact is, if the jail authorities are saying that they have not received it, is something that has to be looked into as to why they have not received it. Once they receive it, because there is a process, a stamping date and time is also given when it is received, so they cannot go back. So I think I will go with the jail authorities that they have not received it. Otherwise, they are in for big trouble.
I think for the Aam Aadmi, maybe for all of you lawyers, this is legalese needs to be followed. But for the Aam Aadmi, it's just one another night in jail after nearly a month in jail, away from your family, away from your loved ones. But to play devil's advocate here, Sanjay Hegde, at some level, our reporters have been reporting that the Indore jail authorities are asking for, permission or go ahead or the procedural go ahead from the UP authorities. On the other hand, they say that the Supreme Court order doesn't actually mention UP by name. It just says that it stays the warrant for arrest.
If they have any such doubt, they should consult the Advocate General of Madhya Pradesh, who's a very fine gentleman. He would undoubtedly tell them, obey the orders of the Supreme Court and if you do not,
All right. Okay. We've lost a line there with Sanjay Hegde, but let me just bring up a tweet that I'm reading now. This is by Mr. P. Chidambaram, a lawyer in his own right, former finance minister, a senior lawyer in India. He has tweeted, why has Munawar Faruqui not been released from jail despite an order of interim bail granted by the Supreme Court yesterday? He says it's nearly 30 hours since the order was passed. Yet the order is being undermined by the MP police and the jail authorities. He goes on to ask, is this happening with or without the knowledge of the MP Chief Minister? Mr. Nigam, before I come to you about, the knowledge of the MP's Chief Minister here, if I can get Mr. Jain, Mr. Chidambaram saying this order is being undermined by the MP police and jail authorities. What is the role of the police and the jail authorities when an order comes from the Supreme Court saying that the trial court has to set the conditions, which they have? They've said 50,000 rupees surety and he should be released. What is the role of the police when they've gotten this order from the trial court, which had first originally stayed that bail?
There is no role for the police. Indore jail authorities, they have to follow the orders of Supreme Court, and they cannot put any if and but on that. They don't have to wait for confirmation from UP government or from Prayagraj court that yes, release him on bail, we also authorize you. These are orders of a Supreme Court bench. They should be complied with. And if they will not comply, Indore jail authorities, they will land up in massive trouble. And there will be clear contempt of court, and some people might go to jail for it, official authorities. Police has no role to play in it. And I think jail authorities, they are not realizing the gravity of the situation. Order is from Honorable Supreme Court bench, and they have to comply with it.
So, Mr. Nigam, I asked you earlier if this delay is now coming out of UP. But let me rephrase that question. Let me ask you what Mr. Chidambaram has raised. Is this happening with or without the knowledge of the MP Chief Minister? He says the order is being undermined by the MP police and jail authorities. We have a former DGP saying that the police has no role to play in this in deciding whether they need to wait for a procedural go-ahead from UP.
No, I think police has no role to play, and to say whether Chief Minister's knowledge, or it's very speculative, and I think I will not venture into it. The order is very clear and it has to be followed in letter and spirit. I am not going into the merits of the case today, nor is the topic of discussion.
Yeah, correct. I agree with you. Neither are we.
And therefore, what everybody has to realize that if the order has been communicated to the jail authorities, and if they are not doing so, as rightly pointed out by everybody else, the concerned officials would be in great trouble and may have to suffer consequences.
But Mr. Nigam, in the state of Madhya Pradesh, there have been delaying tactics earlier also, correct? Munawar Faruqui had moved a plea in the Madhya Pradesh High Court. That came up for hearing on the 15th. But then the Indore police failed to produce the right documents. That case had to be adjourned again by the High Court for a week. In the end, it's almost a month.
Yes, let me tell you, as a lawyer, these things are common practices. Forget about Munawar Faruqui. And take it, for example, it is police in Maharashtra or Punjab or UP or anywhere. Such kind of things happen, and sometimes there are very genuine reasons for that. And therefore, I will not jump to conclusions because there was a High Court. The matter was seized by the Madhya Pradesh High Court, and if there had been any deliberate delay, they would have certainly commented on it. And therefore, now once there is an order, I think it has to be complied in letter and spirit, and if the jail authorities are saying they have not been communicated, and because once you say the production warrant is stayed, you have to give exactly the number of production warrant, which warrant it is there with name and everything. These are very procedural formalities, and then only it can be done. And because they are also answerable to the court and to the higher authorities, they would also like to have their paperwork in a foolproof manner so that no fingers are pointed to them. And again, I will reiterate, if all the formalities have been completed and the jail authorities are not releasing him, then there is something very, very serious.
Well, T.S. Singh Deo says that isn't the treatment of these orders ignorance? With such ignorance, a contempt of court, and he goes on to say that the underlying viciousness of the BJP remains to be seen. Last word to you, Sanjay Hegde. Both you and Mr. Nigam, both of you are lawyers. You probably see this happening every day on a daily basis, cases being adjourned, the client coming back again and again, cases carry on forever. But the continued detention of Munawar Faruqui, it sends all wrong kinds of precedence, is it? I mean, is this a matter of serious concern because of how it plays fast and loose with the law on bail?
Well, it does appear that somebody in Madhya Pradesh wants to send a message to Munawar Faruqui and possibly to the courts as well that we will comply in God's good time. I certainly would not want to be in the position of that official who took that decision, because if the Supreme Court were to call for an explanation, then that person's job would be on the line. If the order of the Supreme Court is widely reported, it is available on the Supreme Court website. It is very clear. If you have any difficulty understanding it, please consult your Advocate General. And if after that you fail to comply, God help you.
Well, Deshrata Nigam, Mr. Jain, Sanjay Hegde, thank you all for your time. I just simply end by saying what needs to be said over and over in our country: justice delayed is justice denied. Thank you all for joining us tonight.